If you're watching this video and you live with your parents or you have a normal 9-to-5 job, listen carefully to the entire video the whole way through, because I'm going to be explaining to you guys how you can move out your parents' house, how you can leave your 9-to-5 job, and how you can start making money, traveling the world, all that kind of stuff. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Hassan Haider. I'm a multi-millionaire living in Dubai, and just 4 years ago, I got kicked out of university. My life has changed massively, and it's because of the lessons I'm going to explain to you guys in this video. So let's start off with the following. It's important to have a job when you're on the come up, when you're trying to start business, because you have cash flow coming in. For those of you who are familiar with my channel, you know I'm very, very fond of this word cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. I don't really believe too much in having a pot of money. I believe in having lots of money coming in per day. You can spend lots, but as long as you're making lots per day, that's what's important. In business, you want lots of inflow, and it's fine to have lots of outflow. Ideally, you want huge inflow and huge outflows. For example, let's say you're making £1 million a day, right? Let's say you're extremely wealthy, like some of these people out there are, right? You're making £1 million a day. It's fine if you spend 999,000 of it on investments, property, stocks, crypto, cars, companies, whatever, right? A, because you still have 1,000 just sat in your bank account every day to spend on maybe basic bills of food. And B, it's just because you're buying assets, right? You're investing your money. That's fine. You want big inflows, big outflows. That's the name of the game in business. That should be all of your aspirations. Anyway, keep your 9-to-5 job, right? It's super important. Don't quit your job too early. Don't just leave your job and tell yourself, oh, it's okay, I don't need a job. Because what's going to end up happening is those extra 8 hours you have per day, what you're going to end up doing is just staring at the ceiling in your room, doing nothing with your time. I remember speaking to someone and they were telling me one time that they were making, so the first week they ever did window cleaning, they're an American guy. The first week they ever did window cleaning, they made $2,000. And then I was asking him, like, why now are you doing nothing then? He's just like, oh, because I just thought it's not going to help me scale to the next level. I was like, bro, it's 2K a week. You can use that 2K a week to invest it in courses, invest it in mentorships, invest it in traveling the world, invest it in advertising, right? Ads for your ecom business. You can spend it on a good mentor who can teach you everything. You can spend it on moving out your parents' house. You can spend it on a better gym membership. You can spend it on better clothes to make yourself look more presentable. You can spend it on a Rolex. That will give you more status. You can spend it on a nice car. You can keep it in the bank even. You can buy your mom a gift. Anything is better than just sitting at home staring at the ceiling and then justifying it as I'm thinking of a way to make more money. Because this is the problem a lot of you guys have. You try and like search for this like magical industry, this magical niche. It doesn't exist. Every industry, every niche has pros and it has cons. And if you fail to recognize that, you're going to make a lot of mistakes and you're going to waste a lot of time in business. You want to keep a job, but then what you got to do is you got to sit there and think to yourself, okay, I need to choose something. I need to choose some kind of skill. I need to choose some kind of work in some kind of industry, right? Some kind of business model. You have to just choose one of the business models and stick to it, right? So let's say you have a job. I don't recommend you guys have a regular 9-to-5 job. Let's say where you're working in a supermarket or you're working in an office or something like this. I recommend you get a sales job where you're paid on commission, because that's going to force you to get good at sales. It's going to force you to win, basically, because sales teaches you if you don't win, you don't eat. You don't hunt, you don't make money, right? It teaches you that winner's mindset, not the whole normal 9-to-5 regular job culture of you just turn up, whether you put a 50% effort in, whether you put 95% effort in, you still make the same money, which is a load of bullshit, right? Because the reality of this world is those who go the extra mile all the time get heavily, heavily compensated for going the extra mile. Whereas working a normal job just teaches you, oh, you kind of tried or you really tried, doesn't matter, we're going to pay you the same. Why would you try your best if you're not incentivized to try your best? Whereas actual capitalism, actual business incentivizes you to do your best. So you have your 9-to-5 job, but as we've said, we don't want a job such as supermarket job or such as an office job. We want a sales job, or we want some kind of very low effort job. So I used to go to the gym at like 1 in the morning a couple years ago when I was on the come up and I was trying to make as much money as possible, and I was very, very conservative with my time, or very, very wary of how I was spending my time. So I wanted to go at 1 a.m. because I was the quietest. I could go to the gym in the most efficient time, in, out, right? Because there's no one on the equipment, blah, blah, blah. So I was going at, let's say, 1 a.m. And the guy who used to open the gate in the gym, like the security gate, I just saw him work in this like security booth, I guess you could say. And he was just sat there like 1 in the morning till like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. I don't know exactly when his shift finished. I think it was like a 10 till 6 shift. I think I once asked him, like 10 till 6, I want to say. If you think about it, this guy is just sat there 8 hours a day, working this night shift, 10 till 6 in the morning, right? And he's just in this booth by himself. And every 3 hours, maybe there'll be one car. There was basically no one in the gym at that time. And he'd just be opening this gate. So most of the time, because I could see through the window in this booth, he was just like watching something. I don't know if he was playing video games on his iPad or something, or computer. I don't know if he was watching a video. I don't know if he was watching a podcast. I don't know if he was on a Zoom call with his boys or a Skype call or FaceTime or something along those lines. But he was just watching some kind of video or doing something video related. Now that's a great job as well, because in that time you could be working on your business or your hustle. You could be talking to your friends, plotting ideas, talking about things you can do. You could be editing videos. You could be making even a YouTube video. You could be filming a podcast. There's like a bunch of stuff you can do in that little booth, in that little room, because you're basically not working. You're basically getting paid to just sit there effectively for 8 hours. That's 10 times better than working as a waiter where you're always on your feet and you haven't got a second to even go on your phone, because then those 8 hours are completely like taken away from you, right? Because the name of the game, right, when you're trying to escape your normal job or escape your parents' house and like become a millionaire effectively and just get a better life, is you want to be very wary, guys, of how you spend your time. So 8 hours are going to sleeping. If you're working as a waiter, then you've got another 8 hours just completely gone. And maybe it's even more than 8 hours, because if you think about it, when you get home, you're going to be absolutely drained and exhausted. The good thing about a sales job is there are a lot of sales jobs where you can just kind of choose your hours. Instead of working 8 hours, you can just work 6 hours, A. B, you're going to learn sales and you're going to get paid on commissions, so you have a chance of making even more money. So sales jobs, or one of those kind of jobs where you're doing nothing. That's what I recommend you guys do for various reasons. Sales, because or Uber. Even Uber's very, very good, because it's like good income. And it's very much like the more hours you want to do, the more money you make. You choose your hours, you choose when to work, right? And also you choose how many hours you want to work. And also you can kind of just chill. You don't have to speak to the guests or the people, the passengers. They don't really want to speak to the Uber driver. When I hop in an Uber, I don't want to speak to the Uber driver. I'm just like minding my own business. 99% of people are like that. So you don't have to speak to most people. You can just sit there in the Uber, mind your own business, and just get paid for driving. And driving's fun. It's like, when you go on a nighttime drive, you have time to think about your day, think about where you're heading in life. It's actually fun, right? So I recommend a sales job. I recommend Uber. I recommend one of these security kind of jobs where you just sat there and you're not really doing anything for hours and hours and hours. These are the kind of jobs I would recommend if I was you. I personally, for those of you who don't know, I had a door-to-door sales job selling boilers and underfloor insulation. So that's what I did. That's the route I went down out of the three. Anyway, once you've got your job and it's making you consistent money, great. Now you're well in position to start making big money. Now what you got to do, boys, is choose a business model, whether it's copywriting, video editing, web design, email marketing, building a personal brand, getting into sales, online sales job, closer role, or appointment setter job, right? Anything, right? E-com, Etsy, Shopify, trading, stocks, real estate, Airbnb stuff, OnlyFans agencies, whatever, right? You just have to choose one of these things and then sit there and think to yourself, okay, I'm going to be consistent at that thing. And then once you're consistent at that thing, you're going to get very, very good at that thing. They say there's something called the 100-hour rule, where if you put 100 hours into anything, you become the top 5% of it. So if you guys put 100 hours, which should take you like 20 days, because the way I see it is this: you have 8 hours at your 9-to-5 job, or your sales job, or your Uber, whatever. Again, if it's a sales job, you can maybe put 6 and make the same amount of money you'd make at 8 hours at another job. Anyway, let's just say it's 8 to make it easy for you guys. 8 hours, you got 8 hours in your sleep, right? That's 16 hours total. You have 8 hours left. 3 hours maybe for your girlfriend, mom, dad, eating, quick gym session, transport, maybe even 3 or 4. But then it's like, say it's 4, then just take 1 hour off your sleep, maybe make sleep 7 hours. The point is, I want you guys left with 5 hours to focus on your hustle. These are the most important hours of your life. This is like go time. Your job is just to help facilitate the business moves. Your job is to help facilitate the other moves we're talking about. The most important thing is these 5 hours in the day. The 5 hours where it's at night, you come home from your job and you have 5 hours to just sit at your desk and just get your computer out, get your laptop out, get your phone out, whatever your job is, whatever your business model is, and study and get better at your craft. That's the only way you're going to make money, because a lot of you guys have this idea in your mind of like, oh, Hassan, I want to make 10K a month. How do I make 10K a month and all these things? How you make 10K a month is actually being good at something. People aren't just going to pay you money for the sake of it. They're going to only pay you money if your service is really good or if your product's really good. And to have a really good product or a really good service, it takes time and it takes considerable hours to produce a good service, a good product. So you have to put in hours and you have to study your craft and you have to master your craft. So let's say you choose email marketing, right? Your goal is to write emails for companies or clients or whatever, and you help them make more sales through their emails, right? Get more sales, get more money, get more revenue, whatever. And then maybe you can take a rev share, or you just get a flat fee of how much money, whatever. The point is, you're writing emails. Well, okay, every day you're going to spend 5 hours outreaching to people trying to get clients, and just 5 hours a day actually writing emails, actually studying what makes a good email, actually studying which emails get higher open rates, which emails get read the whole way through, which emails get people to click on the links. You can study all these things with emails. You can split test different titles, blah, 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 all these different things, right? It's your job to master your craft and become really, really good. What a lot of people do is they make the mistake of trying to do too much outreach at the beginning, trying to make too much money at the beginning when there's some average copywriter. So let's say right now you're watching this video and you say, Hassan, okay, I'm going to be an email marketer. I'm going to be a copywriter. Cool. I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to stick to it. The mistake you guys end up doing is you end up trying to get too many clients right at the beginning when you're not actually good at your craft. No one knows you're good at your work. No one knows anything about you. You're not even actually good at it. So even if people knew of you, they don't think, like, even if they saw your emails, they're not going to think, oh, wow, this guy's so good. It's better to get yourself in a position where you've put in the hours and you're now genuinely good at writing emails. You're genuinely good at increasing people's revenue. If you're actually able to write people emails, which are going to make them more money, they'd be happy to pay you money. But the reason why they're not happy to pay you money is because you're not actually good at writing emails. If you're actually good at writing emails, they would want to pay you. The only reason they haven't paid you, or the only reason why you're not getting clients, is because you're not that good. If someone was really good at making me videos, whether it's YouTube edits, whether it's short form content, whether it's whatever, I'll hire them like this. The only reason you haven't got clients is because you're not good at what you do. Obviously, then there's a case of you're not outreaching enough, blah, blah, blah. So initially what you do is you keep your job, right? You choose something, you spend 5 hours a day on that thing for, let's say, 6 months. I guarantee you within those 6 months, A, you start getting some clients because you're going to start outreaching as well after a couple months. And B, after 6 months, like that's about 180 days, right? Let's just round it up to 200 days, right? 6.5 months. 6.5 months times 5 hours each day, that's 200 days times 5 hours, that's 1,000 hours. If you put 1,000 hours into anything, you're going to be the top 1% of that thing. I'd say even maybe a bit higher than top 1%, probably top 0.5%. If you're the top 0.5% of copywriters, then you're going to start getting clients. Then you're going to start making money. And then when you start getting clients, you're going to be super, super motivated. Like, oh shit, this guy just paid me 2K. Oh shit, this guy paid me 3K. Maybe you start making a 3 grand a month, 4 grand a month, right? Then you can now quit the sales job, which was, let's say, paying you 3K, 4K a month, right? So now you quit your sales job, or you quit your Uber job, or you quit that security job we were talking about. You quit the job, right? And now you have another 8 hours a day free. You have another 7 hours a day free, whatever it is. So now you have 8 hours sleeping and you have 16 hours left. And now maybe you're not going to spend an extra 8 hours a day just working. Maybe now, because you've now earned this position, maybe you're going to spend an extra hour that you used to work a job. Maybe you're going to spend that time with your family, maybe an extra hour going to the gym, or maybe even an extra hour on sleep. But that 6-month sprint is what got you into that position where now you can quit your job. Once you quit your job, then it's just a case of doubling down on what you're doing. Instead of doing 5 hours a day, do 10 hours a day of your hustle. And then you have 6 hours left in the day to go to the gym, eat food, spend time with your family and friends. That's more than enough time. And then it's just 10-hour days over and over and over and over and over again until you're in the position where you're making 10K a month. Now, you're well on your way to being a millionaire. Then obviously it's just a case of scaling, blah, 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 blah. But the reason why I'm making it so simple for you guys, and I'm obviously brushing over certain points, is because that is the basic foundation of what you need to do. That's the premise of it. That's the basic point of what I'm trying to say. You have a job. You keep that job to pay your bills. You keep the job to help you invest in programs, online courses, online mentorships, whatever. You keep that job so you can move out your parents' house. You keep that job so you can buy food. You keep that job so you can go to the gym. You keep that job so you can go on a date. You can keep that job so you can buy things. It gives you power, right? Money is power. And it also teaches you about discipline and teaches you about work ethic, especially if it's a sales job. You're going to learn sales, right? So there's many, many benefits. You keep that job. Then you choose a hustle. You focus on that hustle. Once the hustle is paying you enough money, as much as the job, then you quit the job, you double down the hustle. Worst case scenario, the hustle goes to shit. You can always just get that job back, right? It's not difficult to get a sales job. We have tons of online sales jobs inside of New Money. We have tons of different jobs and opportunities inside of New Money, right? If you lose the hustle goes to zero, you can always go back to working a job. Then you lose nothing. It's super important you guys understand this. You have a job, then you choose a hustle. Once the hustle is paying you enough money to replace the job, you replace the job. Now you spend double the hours on the hustle. Now you're going to really start growing like this, and you're going to start growing exponentially. Instead of putting 5 hours a day into your copywriting, you're now going to put 10 hours. So the rest of the competition, let's say, is putting in 1 hour, 2 hours every couple of days. You're putting in 10 hours a day. Think about how much better you are going to be at copywriting and email marketing and all this stuff than your competition if you're putting in 10 hours a day. They're lazy, right? Because most people, what they do is they go to their 9-to-5 job, and then when they get home, what do? They smoke weed, they drink alcohol, they watch Netflix, they watch TV, they watch sports, they eat bad food, they play video games, They subscribe to OnlyFans. I don't know what people do, right? They do all this dumb shit. They go smoke weed with their friends. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, right? They do all this dumb shit. And then they're like, oh, bro, I haven't got 5 hours to focus on the side hustle. And maybe they spend 2 hours here, 2 hours there on Shopify or e-com or trading. And they're like, oh, Hassan, which business model is the secret business model? This one didn't work and all these kind of things. Every business model works, guys. Every single business model works. There's a lot of gurus online saying, oh, this is the best business model. Sales or agency or e-com or OnlyFans or crypto or Forex or real estate or blah, blah, blah. They're only telling you their business model is the best because they want you to buy their program. There's no such thing as the best business model. It doesn't matter. You can make millions and millions and millions a year being a brain surgeon because you're a master at your craft. You can make millions and millions and millions a year investing into Forex if you know what you're doing. You can make millions and millions a year doing anything. It's just a case of becoming good at what you're doing and sticking to it. Quit your job. Now you have more time to get even more good at it. And it's going to be very easy to get clients. We made other videos on this channel talking about how to get clients. But that's basically what I would do if I was living with my parents and I was to go back to zero. I'd work a job. I'd humble myself, work a job, choose something, get really good at it, and then I'm always going to have clients because there's not that many people who are good at things. Because nowadays you have a million 16-year-olds, a million 18-year-olds, a million 21-year-olds who are copywriters, who are web designers, who are traders, who are all these different things. But they're not actually good at what they say. I can't say I'm a footballer if I never play football and I'm pretty shit at it. I'm not a footballer. You're only a footballer if you're good, if you're a pro, if you play it a lot. You can't just say, yeah, I'm a footballer, yeah, I'm a rapper. If I make one song in my bedroom, am I a rapper? No, I'm just a dickhead who never took it seriously and I don't deserve to go anywhere. It's like a lot of you guys. You say you're copywriters, but you're not copywriters. A copywriter is someone who's going to spend hours and hours studying copy, studying writing words, studying how to persuade people with words, studying their craft. If you do anything consistently, then you can say you're that thing. You can't just say you're a writer, a copywriter, a speaker, a this, a that. You have to practice it every single day. So that's the secret to move out your parents' house and all these things. Hope you guys like that video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel.